Okay. All right, gentlemen, welcome to your week 6 power rankings. It is crazy to say that it is week 6 already, but week 6 is indeed upon us. We're going to go over what happened in week 5, and then we're going to give out the big brain baller moves, and then we're going to give away the Urban Meyer Manager of the Week, followed by the Madden Manager of the Week. Starting off in St. Louis, Coonhounds unable to hold on to their lead that they had going into Monday night. The Looters improved to 4-1. The Clark County Crusaders get absolutely blindsided by the Beecher Creatures, going all unconscious for 166 points. The Dallas Dragons get a much needed win against the Cali Pigs, who still scored a respectable 110 points, while the Tennessee Colonels failed to amass 100 points again this season. But it would not have mattered if he scored his season high, because the Bear Boobs go for what is the new season record at 179.6 points in a week, which is insane. And then the Huntsville Hitmen take down the Shadow Troop, losing for their second week in a row. Now, moving on to the big brain baller moves. I'll introduce the first one in DJ Moore for Rex this past week. Absolutely riding him all the way to this victory this past week in week 5. 3 tutties, like 230 yards or something like that. Insane. Absolutely incredible for the Beecher Creatures. You love to see that for a guy who got has been pretty unlucky starting off and getting that first win under your belt.
Yeah. It was I put him in like 10 minutes before the game started, so I was pretty stoked. I think I was torn between him and I don't remember who the other option was now, but I was pretty torn on that start, and I just went with my gut on that.
Yeah. And speaking of game time decisions, Dragon messaged me before the Thursday night game. I can't remember if it was Wednesday night or Thursday during the day, but he said Zach Wilson or Sam Howell, and I went back and forth for a second as well. But I said, you know what, Sam Howell, go for it. I like it. And that was another big brain move. Not on my part. Obviously give Dragon all the credit for playing him. 26 points in a big game, and he needed it for this week. Obviously, getting a little help from Travis Etienne. And we also have another big brain move for Dragon with the Jaylen Warren play in Pittsburgh. And Jaylen Warren actually outscoring Najee Harris for Ryan 9.4 to 4.5. So big play there that ended up helping Dragon as well. Did we have any more, Rex?
Yeah, we had Zach Moss
Right.
for Sam. Unreal. I ended up with him back on my team this week, but he went for was it 27 or something last week?
32 and a half.
32, yeah. I was not expecting that at all out of him. I figured Jonathan Taylor would get his 5 or 6 points in his first week, and Zach Moss would probably have, maybe 10 points or something. But Sam went ahead and started him, and I also want to note we did have two. If you go and look at League Tycoon, go up to the top, go to Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame on the left.
There it is.
Yep, and then click. I think it's the third or no, the second tab up top. So Sam last week was that 179.6 puts him 8th all time in weekly scoring. That's pretty crazy. He's the only one besides the 166. I guess I put up last week was a top 25 score all time, also. But
Yeah,
wild.
and this should be noted as well that this is down 3 positions
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
8th all time.
Yeah. I wish we could. I know it's like I kind of wish you could get rid of the old scores just for this year, but
Yeah,
I don't know if we end up going super flex, we might as well keep them the way that they are.
right, right. Yeah, no, I mean next year if we do add Superflex, then the numbers will be even inflated this year, but it is
Right.
worth noting that where that stacks up all time and playing down three positions, that is pretty impressive. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, let's move on to the Urban Meyer manager of the week. We didn't really have any bonehead plays.
Yeah.
There was a lot of everybody was pretty efficient across the board. We had one or two that we were like, oh, maybe, but like it really wouldn't have mattered in the grand scheme of things, anyways, in terms of like total score and matchups and things like that. So we don't really have any of those awards to hand out, but we do have a Madden Manager of the Week, and we couldn't give it to anybody else except the Tennessee Colonels. Congratulations, Chase Holmes. This is your second time winning the award, I believe. And so rightly deserved for the Urban Meyer Manager of the Week. Now, for the Madden Manager of the Week, I went back and forth on this. Rex had mentioned possibly giving it to Sam, obviously, for scoring 179. But I think it means more personally for the Beecher Creatures this past week. 0-4, tough to get up. But 1-4 looks a ton better than 0-5. And not just getting a win, but I mean getting a win against the best team in the league was undefeated heading into this week. And now things are looking a little bit differently in Beecher. So I think that Rex really deserves this the Madden Manager of the Week this week. So
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Take a lap. Let's move on to week 6. Huh? We got quite a few matchups here. We got the Holmes brothers blood battle going on downstairs here. This week, I mentioned this to Rex before we went live. This week we have a potential, and I think it could be it's a very likely situation if all the cards fall, that we have 4 3-3 teams after this week, which is exactly what we wanted. As a whole, that like the entire league is competitive. Like everybody's going to be fighting to get into these last few playoff spots, and so we could have in a scenario where if the Hitmen win, if Sam wins, and if the Coonhounds win, we will have 4 3-3 teams heading into week 7, and that's good that's good for the league. So, but as I mentioned, we've got the Hitmen taking on the Colonels. Wholeheartedly expect the Hitmen to win here. Bear Boobs and Dallas Dragons. Dallas looking to improve on this past week. And this matchup I like a lot here. The St. Louis Looters and the Beecher Creatures looking to expand upon what they said they're all about last week. The Crusaders looking to get a bounce back win against the Cali Pigs. And then the matchup that everyone is talking about, the Bond County Coonhounds and the Shadow Troop.
It's the matchup of the week.
It is the matchup of the week. So let's get into some power rankings, shall we? At number 10, we have the Tennessee Colonels. Rex, you want to talk about the Tennessee Colonels a little bit?
Yeah, they this going into this week, there was some murmurings that they could be selling, and selling they did. They had a quite a few trades this past week. I don't know if you can pull that up. I don't know if you can go to the activity.
I think you can go to the activity here.
I don't know. They traded Mixon off of his team. I'm trying to remember who everybody was.
He traded Mark Andrews away, and he traded
Jaleel McLaughlin.
And then let's see. He traded Joe Mixon to Veracruz and Nico Collins.
Yeah. He made some pretty substantial moves. He still got some pieces, and he got quite a few draft picks. But it kind of showed, I think, he kind of seen the writing on the wall, and, he's decided to sell. I want to say he's one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, and maybe he's looking towards next year already.
Yeah, that's possibly it. I think he's trying to get as many pieces as possible moving forward. He's got quite a bit of cap heading into next year, and going to look at improving in free agency. So, I guess like you said, saw the writing on the wall and decided to act on it, and I don't think he turned out too bad for it. So, yeah, absolutely. We have a comment. Z Smitty, start Olave or Mixon at flex PPR. Well, I would say, Rex, do you have an answer?
I would go Mixon.
I was going to say Mixon as well.
It's PPR, definitely Mixon, I think. Olave just has not been getting the ball, so.
No, and I would expect Kamara to eat up a lot of those receptions. So
I would agree.
So there's your answer. Moving on to number 9, we have the Cali Pigs. The Cali Pigs now at 1-4. Things have not gotten better since Chubb has been injured. However, he's still scoring points. So it's not a walkover victory like you would expect. You still have to perform at least halfway decent if you're going to expect to get a win against the Cali Pigs. So that's one thing to look out for. I think he could play spoiler quite a bit this year, actually. I think teams should look at Cali Pigs as like a must-win week. And if you don't, then that you might have some trouble down the stretch.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what happens with Derrick Henry going forward. I've read that he's been outsnapped by Tajay Spears the past couple of weeks. And Derrick Henry has not really been the old Derrick Henry. And now Ryan has lost James Conner on top of it. I think it could be very dicey down the stretch if he doesn't find a running back to replace that, or I just think he's kind of capped if Derrick Henry doesn't step up for him.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of answers needed in Cali. Moving on to number 8, get a big win last week, beat your creatures. Moving on up, baby.
Yeah.
This team, I mean, you can see it. 600 points for, 606 points against, and at 1-4, crazy. I think you are better than your record for sure. And you got a chance to prove it now. So
yeah. That's the thing for me. It's tough because I feel like I've scored a crap ton of points and just don't have the record to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I'm going to really have to put my money where my mouth is in order to climb out of this hole, but I think this team's capable of doing that. At least getting into the playoffs. I don't. This isn't really like last year where I tanked. Like I don't think this team needs to do that. It's got a lot of youth and it's got a lot of long contracts, so we'll see. We'll see where these next couple weeks take us. I mean, I might sell off a couple more pieces if I end up 2-6 or 2-5 or 2-6 or whatever. Just kind of. But I mean, I'm gonna keep competing for a while and see what this team has.
Yeah, I mean, if you go 3-4,
Yeah,
you're going to be in the conversation moving forward. So I think that you very well could still be in that conversation. So moving on to number 7, the Huntsville Hitmen. Huntsville Hitmen getting a win last week. You can never be mad with Josh Allen at the helm. I say this every single time. Mostert is going to get more volume now that Achane's hurt. So I think I could very well see, obviously the Hitmen getting a win this week. They got to win this week, though. But I do like the Hitmen. They're going to be fighting for that last playoff spot. They're one of those teams that are, hunting right around there. So I think at least last week it gave the appearance that 7-6-5-4, 7-6-5-4, and even 3 right now are a lot closer than you think to each other. In terms of team quality, output, consistency, all those things. But for right now, we've got the Hitmen at 7. The Dragons had a much better week last week, coming in at number 6, scoring 129 points. In previous weeks, the Dragons have been down, obviously scoring 54 in the week before, and but 119 the week after that, 104. A little bit of up and down going on for the Dragons, but I think this could be a big week for him if he can pick up a win here against Sam, a big upset. I think we're sleeping on. I think we're sleeping on Dallas a little bit. The more that I talk about his team, the more I feel that he should be ranked higher.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that, but I don't know. He just has a lot of guys that he needs somebody to establish themselves as a wide receiver because Wilson hasn't. I mean, Rodgers going down, Garrett Wilson hasn't lived up to it. Olave's kind of been this year. DeAndre Hopkins hasn't been the same guy.
His floor is lower than a lot of teams.
He has a very low floor, but I think he could consistently put up good weeks. He just, like I said, he's just kind of all over the. I just feel like his team could kind of just go anywhere, and I don't love this team personally. I think he has he has the future on his team. Like he's going to eventually have a really good team. I just think it may be a year early. It's kind of like the Baltimore Orioles. They're a good team, but they're a year or two away.
Yeah. I think the low floor piece is why we've got him at 6. Because with at least if you just look at results and you look at his numbers and you're like, well, why is this team at 6? He's 3-2, so you would think that he would be ranked higher than some teams, but in the same breath, it's just, well, he could go out next week and score 70. So
he's the second lowest scoring team in the league.
That's also another part to it. So, all right, let's move on. Number 5,
5.
the Shadow Troop. Coming off a loss last week to the Hitmen, and then losing the week before that against Bear Boobs. They now go from 3-0 to 3-2. Rex, Shadow Troop, what do you think?
I think this is like we said, this is a matchup of the week, but this team made some additions this week. Got Josh Palmer, got Mark Andrews, and the Justin Jefferson injury. He's going to start Jordan Addison. I think that this team might be scary this week. And why I'm saying that is you have Stevenson against Las Vegas. You have James Cook versus the New York Giants. Adam Thielen versus Miami. That's going to be they're going to be throwing the ball the whole game. You got Mark Andrews versus Tennessee, and then Jordan Addison against Chicago. I mean, I don't love this team, but this team might end up with a pretty high score this week, and it's going to be a big battle there in Southern Illinois.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I have Jordan Addison in a couple other leagues, and looking at this matchup, you can't help but salivate over this particular guy right here. Especially with obviously Justin Jefferson going down this week. That's obviously one reason why. Mark Andrews has come to life in the past few weeks. Sam Laporta, we don't know about yet this week. Didn't practice today. But obviously has been one of the best tight ends so far this year in terms of fantasy. So you obviously want to have him in your lineup until you don't need to have him in your lineup. He's got some pieces that he could plug in, obviously, for him. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good week. Which brings us into number 5, which is the Bond County Coonhounds.
4, right? Yeah, 4.
No, oh yeah, 4. Sorry. Number 4. Took a big hit this past week with Justin Jefferson ended up on IR. Has been, but in the same, I mean, he scored. He's been
he's been damn good.
He's been fucking insane. Minus this last week when he got hurt, but Diggs made up for it. Yeah. So you're gonna hope that you find production elsewhere. I like my squad that we put on the field. And we've got 4 running backs going this week. Rex, I talked to you before. I don't love that I'm playing 4 running backs, but I like the matchup in every single one. So I'm going to do so. And I think even though Purdy outscored Kirk Cousins last week, I think it is a strategic play for me to play Kirk Cousins this week, just in case Addison goes off for like 5 tutties. I at least get a piece of those. So that is my thought process on still playing Kirk Cousins this week. Also, Purdy against Cleveland. Cleveland's defense is good, even though they got kind of beat up last week. So it's going to be a really good matchup. I do think that this one will be close. I think it will be much closer than the projections predict. We're going to go out there and we're going to put our best foot forward, and we're gonna try and end the week at 3-3. That's the goal. So, moving on to number 3, the St. Louis Looters, a team that you have outwardly been against Rex in terms of your outlook on this team?
Yeah. He's a sneaky snake. I mean, there's not much to it besides that. I mean, he is somehow on paper. I hate this team, but it's just had a ton of output. I'm hoping this is the week that it finally comes to fruition. But I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams. I mean, this team it has a high ceiling. I won't ever argue that it doesn't have a high ceiling. It's just, to me, it's just a lot of guys that have been around a long time, and they're liable to break down at any point.
Yeah, I will say, at least for this matchup, when I look into this matchup, it bodes well for you with Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs going up against New England this week. After 2 very, very bad weeks for New England, one thing that they can sort of lean back on is their defense, even though it's a little banged up. I do think that if New England does put their best foot forward, that it will be on the defensive side of the ball. And obviously with Torbeck having Jacobs and Devontae Adams going, it could bode well for you, and them putting up, not crazy numbers. I say that, and they lost 34-0 last week against the Saints, but
yeah.
If I'm going out on a limb and what I think is going to happen, I think that you see less production from those two. Also, with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball, that is also why I would probably predict that. So
we'll see. I'm not getting.
I think we lost you. You say you're not doing what?
Not getting my hopes up this week. I'm just hoping that he finally has a down week.
Yeah. I mean, so let's go ahead and move on to number 2. We got Bear Boots. Now, you could easily swap 1 and 2 around. I think these two have, really cemented themselves at the top of the league for a good reason. They're both 4-1. Sam's best weeks have been better than Dylan's best weeks. Dylan took a bad loss last week because, he ran into a buzzsaw and won 166 points from the Creatures. But, this team is terrifying. David Montgomery, terrifying. Jamar Chase, he's always open. This team is one that you've just got to go in hoping that they don't put up what they're capable of. Because if they do, you're going to lose. So,
yeah, his third best running back on his team is Tony Pollard.
yeah, that's a way to put it. So, and with that being said, we've got the Clark County Crusaders still at number 1. On any given day, this team can be incredible. So, George Kittle showed up to the party last week. 3 tutties. Lamar Jackson is good. Christian McCaffrey is incredible. He's got Jerome Ford going this week. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill. I mean, it goes on and on. And Jacoby Myers, if you watch the Vegas game, he is the safety valve for Garoppolo. So, I mean, he's going to get a lot of targets, and has gotten a lot of targets when Devontae Adams isn't there. So, which is crazy that he puts up this production in Vegas, but can't do it in New England. Just saying. So,
it's the Jimmy G effect.
It might be. With that being said, Rex, do you have anything else for this week?
Thursday night football. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Yeah, I will be cheering for the Chiefs as well. I need to be a big ground game this week. So
Yeah, I need it to be as well. I really want the Chiefs to win, but I also don't want Patrick Mahomes to throw for 4 tutties or something stupid like that.
yeah,
I'm rooting for Pacheco this week. I really am.
There we go. There we go. Really rooting for Pacheco. All right, we will see you boys in week 7.